Yeah, what happened next is picked up the broken pieces of just properties in disrepair. So I had no
Yeah.
idea what I was what I was even being charged. I mean,
Yeah.
I was being charged all these fees, but when we finally took back over possession of the properties, they were just walls were four different colors,
Oh
uh,
my God.
dryer ducts were clogged, just random things were needed to be repaired that were falling off, maintenance issues.
Yeah.
And again, all these things were I was paying all this money to have all this stuff fixed. And
They were
it's just
just
like, where was
robbing
all the
you.
money going? Yeah, they were just
Yeah.
robbing me and a lot of other people.
Alrighty, folks. The new investor series is continuing. We've got the one and only Craig Poskus with us. How you doing, Craig?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, Craig. Well, we start the same way with everyone. Why don't you introduce yourself to the audience? Who are you? What do you do? Where you're at in your real estate journey?
Yeah, so I have been investing in real estate since 2016. It's when I got my first multifamily. Uh, Shortly after that, in 2018, I got a second multifamily. The first one was a fourplex. The second one was a duplex, located about an hour and a half away from me in a college town. And have not invested in any real estate since. Took a break, except for a primary home that I own. But other than that, haven't done anything since. And recently watched a video of you talking about property management and how you had some woes or some issues when you were first starting out. And
Oh yeah.
I was like, man, I have a story for you that could probably help a lot of other investors, and wanted to share it.
Yeah,
So
well let's get into it. Yeah. When you invest far away, 90 minutes in your case, 2.5 hours in my case, you have a full-time job, you got family responsibilities. Property
yeah,
management's the only option. And they're not all great. They're not all great. So
no.
how do you tell us the story? Let's dig into it. What happened, Craig?
So I had managed these properties for about 4 years, so about from 2016 to 2020, and had just kind of had enough.
Mm,
And just, you know, like you said, that's a long time away to drive there to do showings or to do repairs, and
yeah.
um, kind of foreshadowing a little bit, but learned a lesson that you hear often in real estate is it's really about the people that you have, your team. And I
Mhm.
really learned, and again, I'm foreshadowing quite a bit to the future, that I just didn't have a good team. And so I was trying to do everything myself and be too cheap, and it just burned me out. And I'm not sure if you had a similar experience when you were first starting out, but so ended up going the property management route. And
Okay.
there's not many options in this town, in this college town. And so went with one that had pretty good reviews.
Okay.
And the first one I went with just didn't have good experience, not very good customer service. Had a few issues with the way they were prorating utilities, and just not super great. Um,
Okay.
Ended up terminating them, and
Mhm.
then found one that was offering a 5% management fee, which almost sounded too good to be true.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, and
They're
and
gonna
I
get
did
their money
clarify.
somehow.
Exactly, and they did. And I did clarify on sign up that there was no other fees or hidden costs, and was assured that no, it was only the 5% management fee. And 2 years later, and many random fees, and 50, 55 grand I had lost, and ended up firing them. And yeah, so they
Oh my goodness.
yeah, they robbed me and a lot of other innocent people, unfortunately.
Wow, pure theft.
It was pure theft.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's not
Um,
fun. What
yeah.
happened next?
Yeah, what happened next is picked up the broken pieces of just properties in disrepair. So I had no
Yeah.
idea what I was even being charged. I mean,
Yeah.
I was being charged all these fees, but when we finally took back over possession of the properties, they were just walls were four different colors,
Oh
uh,
my God.
dryer ducts were clogged, just random things were needed to be repaired that were falling off, maintenance issues.
Yeah.
And again, all these things were I was paying all this money to have all this stuff fixed. And
They were
it's just
just
like, where was
robbing
all the
you.
money going? Yeah, they were just
Yeah.
robbing me and a lot of other people. So
Okay.
just wanted to share my story with a lot of other people, and you know, some of the lessons I learned from that were definitely even though you have a property management company, you it's definitely not hands off. You definitely need to still stay on top of it and manage it, and can't really turn a blind eye.
Mm,
And also just really have a lawyer look over the contract. I can't stress that enough.
mm.
It may cost, hundreds of dollars up front, but well worth it in the end. Because there are some sharks out there that will
Yeah,
definitely
no
take
doubt.
advantage of innocent people.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's kind of peel this story back for the viewers. First, it
Yeah,
sounds like you did some self-management for the first 4 years or so. Do I have that right?
I did. Yeah, I did. I just wanted to take a step back and really focus on my career. More
Okay.
personal time,
Please.
and
Yeah,
and
yep.
so I wanted
Makes
I wanted
sense.
to turn it over to someone else. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes total sense.
yeah,
I've never rented in a college town. Well, I guess every town has a college. Were you actually renting to students?
yeah.
Okay, so
So so
student
the
housing.
the great yeah, so the great thing about students, and there's pros and cons that I'll share with the audience. So pros, obviously very low vacancy.
Mhm.
Parents usually guarantee the leases, so that's always great. The cons are that in this particular town, the turnover is very high. So whenever you have high turnover, it's just a lot of work,
A lot of work. Yeah.
unfortunately. And
Yeah.
also, they do tend to be part of the units, and they're not very self-sufficient. So,
Yeah.
disposal breaks or the toilet's making a funny noise, they're calling you. Right.
Yeah.
So those kind of cons. So pros and cons in that situation.
No, absolutely. And again, for the first 4 years, you used the word cheap. I'll use the word hands-on. You were trying to do as much as possible yourself, it sounded like,
Correct. Yep.
right?
I was
Yeah.
driving up there almost every weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. I first off, bless your heart doing that for 4 years. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Um, if I went to Fresno probably 11, maybe 12 times a year for the first 5 or 6 years, and that was a lot. I couldn't imagine doing it, 40 times. So bless your heart. Um,
Yeah.
let's go to red flags. The second one offering a too good to be true rate. Um,
Yes.
let's just be honest with folks. That's a huge glaring red flag because again, I want to be very
Yep.
clear. Property management is one of the hardest jobs to do well. You obviously have us as owners who are, you know, think we're all special. You have tenants who think they're all special, and you're making 5 to 10% of rent collection. You may get a lease up fee.
Right.
It's a
It,
frankly a
it,
terrible job.
it, well, and also like going back to the 5%, like 100%, you're spot on. I was very naive. This was a clear bait and switch.
Yes.
100%. Like let's bait these people in at a low rate. We beat all the competitors, and then we'll tack on tons of expenses and random fees, and just bleed them dry in the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
So
And so again, I've said this before, but yeah, I lowest cost provider in property management is not good. I mean, let's just pretend for a second they're above board, which clearly they weren't in this case. A property manager who's only collecting 5% cannot invest in making it better. They can't have systems. It's impossible to run a PM business at 5%. Just impossible. So
right.
that's
Well,
a no.
I
That's
heard
a big.
I heard Michael that even at 10% that the margins are very slim. Is that
Oh,
true?
they're yeah. It depend
Yeah.
that'll depend on head count and all of that. It'll depend if they have an extra source, like are they realtors as well, and it's lead source. Being a property manager is not fun unless you have real big scale. Um, yeah, so it's yeah, I would look at that as a red flag. The other thing it sounds like, and again, these are my words, not yours. You got so burnt out, Craig, that you were not going to check out the work. You were just kind of trusting that it was happening. Is that fair to say?
That's 100% fair to say. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we fired our first 5 PMs. Um, I happen to, I have a sales career and my job every week was to beat up people's pipelines. I never trust anybody. I think I just naturally assume everybody's lying to me until they proved otherwise.
Yeah.
So, for example, in my case, you tell your PM you're going there, everything looks great. I drove back the very next weekend and it was a disaster. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, right. You've got to double check the work. They are yours. Whether you get pictures, whether you get maybe you talk to the tenant. Um, there are sharks, and uh, it's your job to identify. Like, they're gonna get a bite out of you. If they're sharks, they're gonna get you. You're trying to get, stop it before you die, right?
Yeah. So I'm an accountant by trade, and so we have a common saying in our industry: trust but verify. And so just for anyone looking to get a property manager, you know, like you said, trust but verify. You cannot just turn a blind eye.
Oh,
You've really got to do your due diligence and follow up with them,
yeah.
and stay on top of them
This
too.
Yeah, this is the big deal. This is why out of state investing drives me crazy, right? It looks great on
Why
paper,
why
blah
don't
blah.
do it? Why
Yeah.
don't do it, Michael? Because I can't, after being burned twice now, and
Yeah.
you said 5 times. I honestly don't know how people do it, except with the exception of they must have a great team. That's the
They
only thing
have
I
to.
can think of.
Yeah. They have a great team. Um, I'm still double checking my team. Right. I've been with the same team now for 10 years. I've had the same point of contact for 8 years. I'm family friends with the owner now. Like, we've done trips together. I still double check, right? You just never know when something goes sideways. It's my money at the end of the day, my asset. Um, yeah, it's just it's never, you never can turn a blind eye, right? We talk about being working full time, building a portfolio, paying a property manager. Like, no, that doesn't stop. You still got follow up to do. You still drive out once a month. You should still do all these things. So, um, what other red flags that we? Because again, there's a lot of folks like you and I, right? We invest far
Yeah.
away. Um, what are some things we should tell them to be on the lookout for?
Well, hindsight's always 2020.
Maybe there's
I
a
think
lesson
for
there.
Yeah, I think the probably the first sort of red flags that I should have noticed were just random fees being charged with no substantial third-party contractor backup. So you'd have an invoice for, say, $100 saying, expense, and then there would be no, I'd ask for the contractor backup saying, hey, this is
Yeah.
great. You charge
Yeah.
me for this maintenance or repair.
Mhm.
You know, that clearly wasn't in our contract. Fine.
Right.
But could you also provide some third party support about the
Right.
person you seek out? And I would never get that. So that's obviously, if someone's out there is not getting that, that's a huge red flag, right?
Yeah, folks,
There should
that
be some
happens
documentation.
twice in my scenario. Once you bring it up, the second time they get fired. No backup, no tie out, no
Yeah.
validation, no pictures. Unacceptable.
Yeah.
I
There you
agree.
go. And then the other thing is this particular person was very savvy at knowing how to extract as much money from tenants and also landlords as possible. So what he would do is he would say, okay, during turnover, during normal times, we'll have a 250 or $350 threshold where if there's a repair, we have to get your permission. But however, during turnover, unfortunately, we have these contractors lined up and we have so many units to do that we can't ask you. We just have to go in and do it. Do
Oh,
you see where this is
really?
going? Do you
Yeah,
see
I
where
do
this is
see where
going?
this is going. Yes, yes, yes.
So what this particular property management would do is they would rack up tens of thousands of dollars in fees, and if they couldn't get those fees from the tenants, they would just come to the landlord and say, "Hey, we took the security deposit, the tenant's not paying. Now we're coming after you for it."
Hmm,
And I would look at it and be like, "Wow, $30,000 for 4 units? That's a little ridiculous." Like,
right.
and I just completely got wrecked. And shortly
Wow.
after, we terminated it. So I would say any sort of situation like that, where just
Yeah.
giving them
Let me be
blind
very
open.
clear. Let me be very clear. Never, ever buy that story. I want multiple bids. Anything over, I think it's 500 bucks today. For a long time, let's be clear, it was 250. I think I did raise it to 550 because 8 years experience, blah, blah, blah. I want multiple bids. I want pictures. And I don't give a rat's ass if the unit's vacant for a couple weeks because you have to line them up. Fine with me. You're not going to get me with a $30,000 surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I truly hope that people watch this and be like, wow, what a dummy. That's never gonna happen to me because I don't want anyone to fall for anything like I've been through. I mean, I'm telling you, they had a portal, Michael, that you would log in.
Hmm.
You could, and I would log every night. I would come home from work and I would log in, and I would have anxiety because I'd be like, oh my God, what
Oh shit,
charges are
what's
going to be on
coming? Yeah.
this now?
Yeah.
Exactly. And every time I'd log in, there'd be hundreds of more dollars in charges. And it was almost a joke. Like I would joke with my girlfriend. I'm like, well, what are we going to find today? Like how much hundreds
Yeah.
of dollars are they going to
How
charge
much are
me?
they going to steal today?
Yeah. And
Uh,
to her
yeah.
credit, she was right. I should have fired them much sooner. So
Six
too
cents.
little, too late.
Uh,
Yeah.
this does sound like theft. So by chance, is there actually criminal charges or something going on in the background that maybe there's a happy ending where they go wear orange for a little while?
I hope so. I'm not exactly too sure on that. We did hire the best private investigator in all of Houston to go after them, and they did publish a video. Um, but I'm not sure
All right.
of
So
his
maybe.
whereabouts or what's going on since. But
Okay. All right.
I hope, hopefully, yeah, hopefully word got around on that.
Yeah. Very, very
Yeah,
cool. Um,
yeah.
so today, back to self-management.
Self-management with a really good team. That's
Let's talk about that. There's a because again, I
yeah,
think like Dion's doing it now. I think self-management when you build the infrastructure and you
yeah,
have the checks and balances, that's not a
yep.
bad strategy, right?
Yeah, of course. So one thing that I'll have a hard time ever doing again is ever turning over the rent rolls to property management or any other entity again. I'm not
Makes
sure that
total
I would
sense.
ever. Maybe some people can do that and they'll have no problem. Maybe they have a great team. That's not something I don't think I can ever do.
That's the
Just
last thing
considering
you're letting go,
if ever.
if ever.
And it's
Got it.
just
No problem.
I was burned so bad. I lost so many thousands of dollars.
Hmm.
So all the rent rolls come to my bank account
Yep.
and we outsource. We have an incredible realtor. She is fantastic that we outsource all the showings to, all the
Hmm.
leases. Um,
Nice. There you
so we
go.
got that. And
I
then
like it.
we have an incredible maintenance team. Just absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal guy. His company's fantastic. I trust him. So he handles all our maintenance calls.
How'd you find him? Because that's the key. Was it the agent?
Yeah, so no, just kind of long story. So on the fourplex when I not really long story, but on the fourplex when I first moved in, I renovated 3 of the 4 units.
Hmm.
And he actually had the fourplex next to me. And so we just kind of
Oh,
started
okay.
talking and met. He's a fellow real estate investor there and
I
he
like it.
lives in the town and he also has his own rentals. And so he was sort of starting up a maintenance company and a lawn company. And
Oh,
so
you have just found the key that I found with mine. The principal of the company is an investor.
yeah,
Ding, ding,
right.
ding, ding, ding.
So he understands the business. Yeah, he's just and also it's just one of those things where it's I just got so lucky and that I happen. Otherwise, if he wasn't, if he didn't own the property next to me, I would have never met him. And so
Hmm.
it's such an easy thing to say, build a great team. Real estate's about people, meet the people. I've always found it hard to really meet those good people. Like I said, we lucked out with the realtor. We have a fantastic realtor. She's just incredible. And then this guy as well. We've lucked out with him. But
How much? Let's poke at that a little bit because I think there are some action items that we could recommend. What's the college town name again? Sorry.
so this is in College Station, Texas.
Okay, College Stations.
Yeah,
I know there's other investors in College Stations, right? There's got to be Bigger Pockets Group or something. Something
absolutely.
I would recommend others to do is be proactive, right? Get uncomfortable, right? My 7 goals or whatever they are, tasks or rules, I guess. Number 7, or which one is it? Number 3, grow your network. Meet 2 people a week. If you're in College Station, it shouldn't be that hard to meet 2 new people a week. You meet 2 people a week for a year, that's 100 people. And what I found with Fresno, because again, I never lived in Fresno. I drove through once as a teenager on my way to Yosemite. The only reason I started bumping into really quality people is I met 100 people and 80 of them sucked, but 20 of them were pretty good and 5 were great. It takes being proactive, right? Would you agree with that?
I would 100% agree, and I would say I was not proactive enough. And so this
Right.
is, I guess, these are these things you learn, kind of
Yeah.
along the way, just
Yeah.
in real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh, is it better today? Are you in a good spot today? You feeling better?
we're in a good spot. It was rough picking up the pieces. I'll say
I'm
that
sure.
the units were in disrepair. I think this year will probably be a break even year. But we got a good team now. We have a good process in place. I think we're trending on the up and up. But
It does
I'm
get better.
yeah,
Yeah.
complacency will bite you. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
In real estate, I just don't want uh anyone else to ever have this happen to them. So I hope they see this
I hope so.
and maybe there's one thing they take away and they see someone offering a ridiculous management fee and they're like, wait a second, that's a red flag. Or
Red flag. Stop. Run away.
yeah, it's just something, take something from it, because
Yeah.
it can happen to you and it can happen fast if you're not paying attention. I mean, these people out there will take advantage of you,
Oh yeah.
you know?
Yeah, anytime money is involved, it attracts sharks, to use a word we
Yep.
had earlier. You can call them scumbags, criminals, whatever you want. Anytime money's involved, it can happen.
Yeah.
I will remind you of my story with my very first house. We did everything right in this case. Credit check, reference checks, blah, 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 blah. We did it right. And I still got. I had to evict. They got divorced. He became an alcoholic and destroyed my house. But when we picked up the pieces, it got better. And we ultimately 1031 that into it in units that we still own today. So I'm sorry you had to go through this. I think it is so brave of you to share this story with others. I appreciate that. Um, Shout out to your girlfriend who told you to fire him earlier. Sometimes you need that
Yep.
extra voice. Any
Yep.
closing thoughts?
I would just reiterate just a couple things is if you're going to go the property management route, there's nothing wrong with that. But like you said, you know, trust but verify. Uh, please, please, please just pay the money and get a lawyer to look at the contract. You'd be amazed the stuff that they can sneak in there, especially if you're not savvy with these type of property management contracts. Um, and uh, and also don't be afraid of the self-management approach with a good team. I think
Yeah.
I just wish I would have put more thought into it before I just, washed my hands of it and turned it over and maybe went this route. And I probably would have saved myself a lot of heartache and a lot of money.
Yeah, I think there's one thing that I would definitely consider today. I talk to Dana Dunford, CEO of Hemlane, every week. I think the Hemlane platform would really help streamline the advertising, money collection, repair requests. I think technology is very much different today than 20 years ago when I started. Um,
Yeah.
that just makes self-management at least a consideration, right? At least certainly if you only have one or two units, there are better ways. And Dion keeps telling me he's using it. So, um,
Yeah.
anybody, if somebody wanted to reach out, ask some questions, network, is there a social media that you have, or you want to look at the comments on the video? What do you want to do, Craig? Where can we send them?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can always reach out to me. I think LinkedIn is probably okay. Craig Poskis on LinkedIn if you want to reach out. Yeah, happy to chat if you have any questions about my story. But no, I really appreciate you giving me this time to kind of let other people know my story, and I
Yeah.
hope someone takes something from it and that nothing like this ever happens to them.
Yeah. Again, folks, Craig was very brave. Not a lot of people like to share the L's, certainly big L's, certainly embarrassing L's, but he did
Yep.
it for you. So leave a comment below thanking Craig for his time and coming on. Craig, I appreciate you. I'm sorry that happened to you. It happened to me 5 times. So you happened to you
Yeah.
twice. We both got. Craig, you're amazing, man. Take care.
Take care. Thanks, Michael.
Mhm.